Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening, everybody. Happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there, enjoying your day, making it wonderful. You know what I'm saying? It's still Saturday. Wow. You know those days where you feel like it should be another day, but it's really that day. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of my day right now. But I hope you guys are all doing well out there and enjoying your day and making it positive, making it wonderful, doing something good, not only for the people that are around you, but something good for yourself. Okay, it's the weekend. You know, you need to do a little R&R for yourself. Okay, rest and recuperation for yourself. All right. So hopefully you guys are doing exactly that. Maybe kicking back, enjoying a late meal, a late breakfast or something like that while you watch this show right here. But of course, I always appreciate you guys being here because without you, I'd be talking to a wall. All right. Let me just keep that straight funky. All right. But we got quite a bit to talk about. Actually, we have one piece to really talk about. And I wanted to get you guys' opinions on this. I may be opening up the phone lines. Do not call me right now. Don't. Okay? I hate it when people try calling in the middle of me trying to do this stuff before I open the actual phone lines. But I may open up the phone lines to hear your thoughts on all of this stuff. There's some new information. Now, this may be one of the very few last episodes, videos, whatever, revolving around this until we actually see Bryan Kohberger walk into trial on June 26th. So we're going to talk about this because this is something that I find very interesting. It's very, very interesting in my personal opinion. And we gotta do this. We got to go into it. So, but before we go into all that, okay, real quick reminder, tomorrow, all right, tomorrow I will be announcing the winner of this giveaway, this $100 giveaway. So you still have a chance, y'all. There's still a chance for you to win $100, okay? So at the end of my show tomorrow, I will be announcing a winner of the $100 giveaway. So please, it is very, very simple. The link to the Swagit app is tagged at the top of the chat right now as we speak, of the family chat, and it's in the description box right under my face right here. Click on that link. Download Swagit app. Follow me, The Pascal Show, one word. Comment and like on some of my videos. You are instantly entered in for a chance to win some new money for the new year. Yes, I said it. So please go. Do it right now. Download the app. Download. It's 100 smackers, man. You know what I'm saying? You get to pay some bills with it. I don't know. Take your loved one out for a meal. Shoot, take your kids out to Chuck E. Cheese's. Whatever it is. Shoot, if you want to do adult kid game stuff, take them to Dave & Buster's. Whatever. All right? I don't care how you use the money, but enter in by downloading the Swagit app, following me, commenting and liking some of my videos. You're instantly entered in to win. It's that simple, y'all. So go get cracking on that right now because I will be announcing a winner tomorrow. Again, tomorrow. So do it now. All right. So a little bit more housekeeping on this end of the world. Be sure to hit that like button down below. Send it past 300 likes. That would really, really mean a lot. And don't forget, if you haven't done it yet, then I don't know what to tell y'all. But be sure to hit that subscribe button, okay? We're waltzing. It's a slow waltz, but we are waltzing our way towards 100,000 subscribers. It'd be great to have you a part of the Pascal Show family, and I just really appreciate the support. So go and do that. All right? let's get into these things, okay? Download that Swagget app. I'm telling you, okay? There's still a chance for you to win that $100, y'all. So download that Swagget app right now, okay? And I will say this: some places, if you are a boo sheet, just said the link isn't working for me now. If you are overseas, it is only the app is only working for U.S. residents right now. So just so you guys know that as well. But they are looking. They're about to expand the accessibility to other countries here very, very soon. So if you are somewhere else, the link may not work for you. Just a heads up. Okay. But be sure to download it, be a part of it, follow me, all that stuff. $100, new monies. So go and do that. All right. Now, we got to get into these things. Okay, guys. Because like I said, I'm not going to be here for a long time. Okay. And if I open up the phone lines, it will be a short amount of time. Okay. I'm going to be allotting people a certain amount of time, okay, per call, because I know sometimes we can be on and talk for 20 minutes per person. And I want to try to get as many people on as I possibly can if and only if I open up the phone lines. But as we already know, getting back to the story, as we already know, Bryan Kohberger is the man that everyone's looking at and alleging, let's just say that, alleging that he's the bad guy. He is the monster that did this unthinkable thing. I still believe that this could very well be our guy. We've looked at the affidavit, the probable cause affidavit. We've had so many things that were displayed and shown in that affidavit. There's the knife sheath with the DNA on the button. There's the cell phone pings. There's apparently security cam footage, all that stuff. It was enough for them to go and say yes, for the courts to say, yes, you can go and arrest this man. You guys can go to Pennsylvania. You can follow him as far as he goes, as far as he travels. Oh, let's not forget, in his 2015 white Hyundai Elantra, same type of car that they were looking for. Remember that, y'all? Crazy, right? So they had all those things, all those pieces of evidence that they used in that affidavit. Mind you, the affidavit is heavily redacted. There's information in there that they completely ripped out. Pages, paragraphs and pages of stuff gone. I'm sure there's like at least in totality, I'm sure it's about 40 pages or so. Okay? 40 pages or so. I mean, that's just my assumption of just information. Maybe there's more evidence, but they're just not putting out there because they don't want to put anybody's lives in jeopardy as well. Now, that obviously opens up another can of worms, which we'll talk about in a little bit, okay? But all that we have so far within the probable cause that the redacted affidavit that they put out here, a lot of us are looking at this and going, yeah, sounds about right. Yeah, he probably is the dude. Looks like it is that guy. Looks like they got their guy, right? Well, some other people beg to differ. Like his former attorney from Pennsylvania. Okay? We got to take a look at this. He is claiming that the DNA on the knife sheath could have been there for an indefinite period of time, and cell phone pings off a tower near the home doesn't place him at the crime. Now, let me just say this before we go, before we dive on in, all right, into this article. Let's keep it real. This is some real attorney-ish. Like if you are defending Bryan Kohberger, or you're just defending somebody who's standing trial for a horrendous, for doing something so horrendous, your job is to defend, right? Doesn't matter if you like the dude or not. That's your job. So of course you can see loopholes, you can see avenues. You see what I'm saying? Like it's like the Bill Clinton situation. It depends on what is, right? In a way. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that he's just grasping at straws. We've talked about this many, many times. We had Andrea Burkhart on the show, a lawyer. We've had many other people on as well. Danny On, also another attorney, talk about these things at great lengths. We've talked about these things, asking and wondering, is this enough? And if it isn't enough to really stick it to the man, why is he standing trial then? If this is not enough, and if there's super loopholes here, gigantic room for reasonable doubt, which we do see some holes, guys. I mean, they're like Swiss cheese holes, y'all. Okay? For room of reasonable doubt. Now, mind you, before I continue here, let's not forget the probable cause affidavit is heavily redacted. There may be more information that they just did not want to put out there, that they didn't want to expose as of yet, because they wanted to keep that for the trial. And of course, there may be more information, that they're holding back because they didn't want to give out all that stuff to the general public, right? Now, there's these other details, and of course, we're going to go into this article here. I just saw it in the corner of my eye. Somebody said something. Immortal Cat said he's vegan but has a leather sheath. Now, let me say this though, really quick, which reminds me, I need to bring something back up again from last night's video that I posted, because there is something interesting about that too. Let me just grab this one thing, because there is something interesting about that. Hold on. Okay. Because I do want to bring this back up again. There's one piece in here. Remember when we were talking about, and this is what I was talking about last night in my pop-up video. Be sure to check out my pop-up video. That would really, really mean a lot, okay? Because there's a lot to look at when it comes to him as a middle school student. They said he was, bullied, messed with when he was a kid, basically bullied by mean girls. He had a crush on this girl, all that stuff. Go to that one, check out that video. It's very interesting. And yeah, kids are mean. That doesn't justify anything, but kids can be real jerks. It just is tragic if that is the situation. And of course, I asked the question of, did him being bullied by these girls set it off, right? Plant these seeds in his brain for him to allegedly do what he ended up doing, decades later. But one thing I wanted to point out is this. So, something that I saw. Now, I understand, Immortal Cat, I totally understand. I thought the same thing. Trust me, I've had so many different discussions about this with other true crime content creators, and with just friends of mine, right, that have been watching this show or just following this case closely. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that he used to have aspirations of he used to have aspirations of becoming an Army Ranger when he was a kid. Now, again, I said it earlier in many other shows before. What was up with having this United States Marine Corps stamped K-bar knife/knife sheath? What are the chances of him actually having that from the time he was in high school? He always had that in his possession. And I get it. There are people out here that are, once they go hardcore vegan, they'll get rid of those kinds of things. They don't want those things in their presence, so on and so forth. But then it's the weird thing though. On top of that is you got to think about it. If he was really concerned about the lives of animals, then why would he go and take the lives of 4 students of human life? That's another oxymoron as well. A vegan mass monster makes no sense to me, right? So I can see somebody who holds on to something like that as a prized possession, regardless of their beliefs. They just might still have it. Okay. I've seen people who are, change their ways on certain things, but still have remnants of their past, you know, sitting there on a mantle or sitting there on a bookshelf, because it still reminds them of a time past, right? Now, he had dreams and aspirations of becoming an Army Ranger. Obviously, that didn't happen, but maybe he received that as a gift. Maybe he bought it for himself a long time ago with the dreams of becoming something more, becoming an all-American hero. God only knows. Okay? God only knows. But again, this shows proof of a militant past, okay? That he was inspired heavily by wanting to join the armed forces. And then you got the K-bar with the sheath and all that. And I know that doesn't pin him to the scene of the crime. I know it doesn't. But when you see photos like this, when you see him wanting to become this ultimate badass, you know what I'm saying? The K-bar and that sheath start to make more sense. Just saying. Okay? So I just think it's just weird, okay? So when you see something like that, I see maybe there's a connection with that K-bar. Okay? Like I said, it does not pin him to the scene of the crime, like he said, like his former attorney, Labar. He says, this doesn't place him at the crime. True, it doesn't, but it does connect. There is a possible connection with him with that sheath. And again, we talked about this with Danny Ahn when she was on the show, where it's, hey, anybody could have taken that sheath. Let's just keep it real. Anybody could have taken that sheath, walked into that room of horrors next to Maddie, and just dropped the sheath off. Sure, they could do that. But then my question is, why Bryan Kohberger, of all people? There are plenty of other awkward people in that town that they could have picked from, that are down the street, next door. Shoot, what's his name? I'm forgetting his name now, but the fire poi chef guy, straight up, okay, easily could have been picked as something strange, or someone who's already socially awkward. People are already jumping down his throat, assuming that he was the bad guy. Okay? Mrs. Coco B said, him still guilty. You know what? And that's the thing. I still think him guilty. I still do think that, absolutely. But you got to ask these questions, right? Then on top of that, again, in the affidavit, we already know, or the Alpha David, we already know that DM talked about seeing him basically running out the door, passed right by her, running out the sliding glass door, right? Yes. Isn't it his name Ian or something like that? Yes, I think. Okay. Yeah, Bianca's barking right now. Yes. Yes. She wants something. What it is, I don't know. But she's losing her doggone mind. Hey, a dog losing her doggone mind. Anyway, okay. So here's the thing, okay? When it comes to all this, DM sees him running out the door, right? Running out the sliding glass door. Bushy eyebrows. That's all she sees. Him in all black or a male in all black, bushy eyebrows. Then she locks the door. She sits in there. And what's interesting is that the other piece, because I got questions, y'all. I got so many questions, okay? So many questions, all right? And I will continue to have so many questions, okay? But here's my question, all right? And I'm not accusing her of anything. I'm not, but it is still strange to me. She does not call 911 for over 6+ hours. Well over 6+ hours, she does not call 911. And what's interesting is that instead of her calling 911 first, she calls friends first. That's a little bit strange to me as well. Don't you think? Yeah, Tyler. Okay. Yes, that's crazy to me too. And I get it. Shock, fear, anxiety, all that stuff. But if you think some wrongdoing or evil doing has happened in your home, why take 6 hours plus to call said 911? But before you call 911, you call your friends or a friend? It doesn't make sense to me. That part I'm still trying to come to terms with and make and understand. And you got to remember, if and only if they decide to take her to, if she decides to testify, is she really going to be able to sit there and point from the podium and say, yes, that's the man because of his eyebrows? Again, we have to ask those questions. We have to ask those questions. Will it really 110% be enough? So let's get into this article. I know that took a little bit, but I'm exercising all these thoughts in my brain. I had a lot of time to think about this last night after I talked about this him in the past as in middle school and all that stuff, being bullied and etc. We already knew about him being bullied. We already knew about him turning into a bully when he got into high school. We already knew about him trying to exact his intelligence and trying to show how he is superior, a more superior person, intellectually, like he was intellectually superior than his other classmates and stuff like that. We already know those things, right? We already know all that ish. But does that still put him in the scene of the crime, guys? Does it or does it not? Let's go. So we already know his ex-attorney, Jason LaBar, said while there are strong circumstantial evidence against him, all right, viewed individually, it can be easily attacked. It could easily be attacked in court, all right, which is very interesting to me. Hold on, I'm just blowing this up so you guys can see a little bit clearer, okay? So Chief Public Defender from Monroe County, Pennsylvania, Jason LaBar, was court appointed to Kohberger when he was obviously first arrested and then before he got extradited to Idaho, okay? So speaking to Law and Crime, which I got I got the whole episode. We're going to get to the clip where he starts talking about the evidence and whatnot. But during one of their shows, he eviscerated the probable cause affidavit, explaining that the evidence is not clear cut. So he said his comments on the knife sheath, which was found next to one of the victims featuring Kohberger's DNA on the button snap, was shrugged off by LaBar as touch DNA or transfer DNA. What the hell does that mean? I don't know. Okay, but we're going to get into that in just a minute. which would mean that it could remain on the sheath for an indefinite period of time if undisturbed, he explained. That's one way of attacking that type of evidence that doesn't put him at the scene of the crime the night out, just that he merely touched that sheath at some point in time. Now, I keep wondering, I mean, how much transfer of DNA do you have? Like, if I'm taking my phone, for example, and I never touched this phone before, right? And I just did that, right? Just a touch. Does that automatically mean, ooh, DNA? You see what I'm saying? Now, I understand fingerprints and whatnot. That's another conversation. But I'm talking, they're just saying DNA. If I flip a switch on a light switch, does that automatically mean DNA? What did he say? What did he call it again? Touch DNA. Does that automatically mean that? Just boom, touch DNA? I'm quite curious. And I'm going to get to these super chats in just a minute. I have a member chat here I want to grab before, hopefully it doesn't totally disappear. But I will get to that in a second. So it does make me wonder, touch DNA or transfer DNA? This is when I wish I had someone who is in forensics or something like that that could maybe explain that just in more detail for all of us so that we understand a little bit more about that, because what does that mean, right? But then it's like, okay, I get it that attacking that type of evidence doesn't put him at the scene of the crime. Clearly, sure, it doesn't. Sure. But then just that he merely touched the sheath. So then at some point in time, so then what was it? When was it that he touched the doggone sheath? Right? When did he touch it? How long ago? Right? That's the question. And the other thing is that there was no other fingerprints, nothing on the sheath from what we know so far, except DNA in the button snap. That's it. Touch DNA. Again, touch DNA or transfer DNA. And that's it. So then how did that happen? Asking for a friend, how did that happen then? In my personal opinion, he's always had it. He polished it off. He cleaned it off as much as he could, wore gloves, didn't do a thorough cleaning of the snap button, went and did what he did. All hell broke loose, I'm sure. And in the fray of all this horrendous violence he was administering to 4 people, he totally forgot that he left the knife sheath behind. That's it. Again, we've already said, like, this is a brilliant idiot. Like, they say he's so smart and so brilliant, but he did a lot of really dumb things all in one sitting. But real quick, Aaron, thank you so much for being a member for the past 2 months. I really do appreciate it. Love you, Pascal. Hope all is well. Off topic. That's totally fine. Exploring with Nug is asking in the comments if you're going to chat about Jared Lysick being arrested. Yes, I will be having a conversation about that and probably a pop-up video later on, maybe over this weekend, that kind of thing. But yeah, to me, I feel like a lot of other people have kind of covered that story quite a bit already. But I will see what I can do about covering that as well. Because it's funny, because I was going to do it as a live a few days ago, and then something else popped off. Some other breaking story popped off right when I was about to go live, so I changed everything. That same thing happened to me with Andrew Callahan when I was about to do a whole story about Andrew Callahan, and something else broke that on covering this particular story or this particular case. But let me get into these super chats here really quick before we continue, because they get too far away and then I don't get to bring them back out. So Charlie Miller, thank you so much for the 10. There was a case when I first moved to Connecticut where DNA was explained. So this tells me this DA must have all her ducks, crossed every T, and every I to make the charges stick on BK. See, that's the thing. You're telling me that's what I'm trying to say right here. The probable cause affidavit, yes, we have some things that are not in there. It's redacted. We already know that. But you're telling me that the courts looked at that and there had to have been more stuff that they're just not giving out to the public right now. There's got to be. And now I've learned my lesson, right? And I feel like we all should start learning our lesson on the whole thing of, well, just because law enforcement isn't giving us everything, just because the law isn't giving us everything, does not mean that they don't have anything. They may have a lot of everything, and we think they know nothing. You see what I'm saying? So in my mind, I'm like, okay, let's step back and let's see what happens, right? The affidavit, that probable cause affidavit, with what it's been said from cell phone pings and the knife sheath. I mean, the knife sheath alone would garner a reason for them to even start looking in his general direction, at least in my personal opinion. And I feel like it would make sense for the courts to be like, string them up, bring them in. That's what I think. So yes, Charlie, there's got to be more to this that they're not telling us. And they will tell us soon enough. They're going to have to present it in court in about 5-6 months, right? But that is a good point, Charlie. That is a very, very good point. But then, my babies, let's talk about this though too. What about the defense? What about his whole defense team? They all jumped on this and are going hard in the paint on this. I've heard from so many different sources that how the defense team jumped on this and how they've been going after this is a little unprecedented, or it's a little surprising how much they have dove into this. Now there could be very good reasons why, which I'll say here in a second, but it's still interesting that they have jumped in so, like, they just dove all the way in as if, I don't know, as if they were actually hired by him. Okay? Which is interesting. Unless they're seeing this as an opportunity to get their names out there. It's an opportunity for clout. It's an opportunity to maybe get this man exonerated and put their names on the map even more. That's the only other reason I can see why they would just jump in so hardcore. Again, let's not forget, their job is to defend Bryan Kohberger and prove his innocence, or at least sprinkle in that reasonable doubt into every single juror's minds. So that's their job. Their job is to do that. But it is very interesting that is all going down here for sure. Kelly Bruner, thank you so much for the $10 super sticker. I do appreciate that. Thank you so very much. Natalie, thank you so much for the 10. You're an inspiration, Pascal. Oh, stop. Thank you for the content. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so very much. I appreciate all the super chats, guys. Thank you, and so much for the compliment. Thank you. Nakisha Moses, thank you so much for the $3 super sticker. I really do appreciate it. But let's get back into this. Again, he's sitting here going like, this ain't enough, man. This ain't enough to pin him anything on him. Sure, it's interesting content. The pings, the security cam footage, the knife sheath, the DNA on the knife sheath. But he's saying it's touch DNA. And that could have been on there forever. That could have been on there at any given time. It's interesting. So, Labar said, there is no direct evidence linking Kohberger to the fatal tragedy of the college students. We already know their names, but Kaylee, Madison, Xana, and Ethan. All right. Even the suspected white Hyundai Elantra, which was allegedly seen at the victim's off-campus house before and during the supposed time of the tragedy. He even says that appears to be circumstantial. Okay, but then let's talk about that. Why would they Suddenly, why would this dude drive out there at 4:00 in the morning just to chill in the cut? To get some recreationals? Like, is that the spot, the rendezvous spot to go pick up some recreationals? You feel me? To pick up some H, to pick up some whatever? Just happens to be around the same area or in the corner or across the street from 1122 King Road? Does that make sense? Then on top of it, let's talk about the phone ping or the phone's tracking and how it turns off for a significant amount of time and then turns off about an hour or so after, maybe a half hour, a little over a half hour after this tragedy. Okay, Donnie, thank you so much. Yes, I know it's not recreational, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, so he turns off his phone to pick up some drugs, to pick up a pizza. Who's making pizza at 4:00 in the morning? You know what I'm saying? Like, is there a diner across the street? No. So why was his phone? Why was he there? Why are surveillance cameras and all that Ring camera, all that stuff, showing his car going out there and doing this and being in the area of these unthinkable things, of this tragedy? But then at the same time, his phone is off, turned off completely. As he jumps into the car, drives down, does his thing, whatever it may be now, because now it's just apparently from Attorney Labar, he's saying it's just circumstantial. So what is he doing? Answering a booty call? But then it's like, why would he shut off his phone to go answer a booty call? And let me say this too. Is he a guy that would go out at 4:00 in the morning to answer a booty call? Don't worry, I'll wait. See, even my dog's like, yo, speak on it. So this doesn't make sense to me at all. It really doesn't. Okay? It really, really doesn't. And for me, I'm trying to understand it being just how it appears to be circumstantial. And I think that the courts, seeing all the data, seeing all the information, okay, would sit there and automatically think and say, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Get him. Get him. Then also, yes, Melissa Love, exactly. Exactly. What you said. What's his alibi? And who can sit there and corroborate and can actually confirm, yes, he was with me all night? Why was he out there doing his thing at 4:00 in the morning? More like 2 something, because he was out there. I don't have the affidavit in front of me, but he was out there from like 2 something until he drove back home and got home around, or the phone turned back on around 5 something. So he was out there for hours. What was he doing out there then? But this all happens to be circumstantial? Now, I get it still doesn't pin him in the house doing these things. And I know that Dylan, is not going to be able to sit there and go, that's the man. She's not going to be able to do that in court. She's not. Unless he had like some physical scar, undeniable, right on his face. Or unless it said Bryan Kohberger stamped on his forehead as he's running out the house. So clearly, then she's not going to be able to sit there and go, that's our guy. Bushy eyebrows. She's not, no. A lot of dudes with bushy eyebrows, okay? A lot of them. All right. Follow the grain. Follow the grain. You know what? That could be one thing too. Voice could be a thing. Very well. But you got to remember, though, too, some people forget. Some people will adjust their memory. And it's just a weird cognitive thing that we do. We will adjust our memories a little bit given the circumstance. So let's be real. Can we 110% believe that she is saying yes without a, let's just say she goes, oh my God, his voice. Yes, that's him. Sometimes people will adjust their perspective or how they remember things to fit a puzzle, fit a piece, a new edition of a puzzle into their memory. You see what I'm saying? So when it comes to voice, unless she had it recorded, it's going to be very hard for the jury to sit there and go, oh, well, she recognizes the voice. There's plenty of dudes that sound like Bryan Kohberger, y'all. There plenty are. Okay? No disrespect to that, but let's keep it real. So it'd be very tough for her to sit there and go, yes, that's his voice. Oh my God. Unless there was actual recording and she's like, yes, that was him. And I remember the freckle on his nose or something like that. But remember, his nose, mouth, nose, all this was covered. So all you saw was this and that's it. And there's plenty of brunette guys out here in the world. So it's going to be very tough. If, and that's only if, she decides to testify. Okay? Let me get some of these super chats real quick. Again, thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so very much. I really do appreciate the support. Thank you. Y'all could be doing anything else right now on a Saturday. And y'all are going to be sharing a cup of joe with me today. All right? So, let's get into Charlie Miller. Thank you so much for the 5. Do you think it's possible someone else who did this crime, broke into BK's house, stole the sheath, and placed it there to frame BK? Just a question. You know what? That's a good question. There could be a co-conspirator. There could be a partner in crime in this whole situation. Hence the reason why we're hearing, or hence a theory that's floating around, is why they are sealing the search warrant, the things that they find in the search in his house or in his apartment right now. People are speculating or conspirizing that there may be a partner in crime. You got to remember, he did say, now this could have been him trying to throw people off his path still and messing with 5-0 a little bit, but he did say, anyone else get arrested? That's not exactly what he said, but hey, he did ask if anyone else was arrested. Now, all of us instantly are going, he's just trying to mess with people. He's just trying to mess with us and mess with 5-0, right? But then, you never know. There may have been an accomplice. There may have been another person involved in this whole situation, and that's terrifying to think about. I've heard a rumor about, this is a rumor, I heard a theory about another, like a female, but I don't know anything about that yet. I'm going to look into it though. Like this story, I keep thinking it's done, but it's not fully done yet. So we will be talking about these things as we go on, but there's so many other stories that we need to get into as well, which I will be on a little bit later on this afternoon / early evening to discuss another case that I've already talked about, but we need to bring it back into the conversation. All right. Lisa, thank you so much for the $5 super sticker. Audie, thank you so much for the 10. I'm new to this. Hope it gets you. Really enjoy your show. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it, Audie. Thank you. Okay. So one more, I think. Bad Girl. What's up, Bad Girl? Thank you so much for the 5. BK was wearing gloves and dumping garbage in neighbors' bins. Innocent people don't act like that. Plus, gloves in public. Be well and stay safe, folks. Absolutely. Okay. 110%. Okay. I agree with this. We're going to get back to this article because there's a lot more, and I got these videos, so I'm going to show you guys those things, those videos as well. Please do me a favor, though. Hit that like button down below. Let's get it past 600 likes because a like doesn't cost a thing, all right? And it helps with the show. And if you haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe button, baby. All right? Thank you so very much, all right? But let's talk about this. The wearing gloves, dumping garbage. Yes, to me, that is a huge red flag. Why would he dump garbage in his neighbor's garbage cans? Right? Why was he walking around in wearing gloves and stuff? And I know I made the joke about it when we first talked about this, about him being surveyed as he's taking trash and dumping it 4:00 in the morning, dumping it in his neighbor's trash cans. He clearly was covering his tracks, or he's just trying to get rid of all of his nudie magazines. Like, that's the only thing I can think of. And he's worried about his parents rummaging through his ish, or he's got a stash, right? Maybe he relapsed. Maybe he went back on the smack. I don't know. But it doesn't make sense. And that's not they're saying that they haven't said anything about finding drug paraphernalia or anything of that sort. So why? Again, why would he go and do all that stuff? Why? It makes no bloody sense. Now, one thing I want to say is I was going to do this as a video, random, impromptu. I was at the store yesterday, and I literally saw a woman wearing glasses, a mask, and she literally had gloves on. And I'm not talking about, oh, it's cold out, baby, it's cold outside type stuff. I'm talking like cafeteria lady gloves as she is paying cash. I literally saw this last night. I'm not kidding. And instantly I'm thinking, is this Bryan deterred? Could this be Bryan deterred? Like, I was like, where's her body at? You know, literally, because I've never seen that before in my life. And then suddenly I see this actually happening in front of me. But I think she was just a hardcore hypochondriac. Literally. She had little travel size hand sanitizers, like clipped, a whole bunch of them clipped to the side of her purse. Like, she was very serious. But at the same time, like, she had gloves on and everything. Plastic gloves. So I guess it's not far-fetched, right? But as far as the dumping of the trash across the street, to me, that's a dead giveaway. That's a dead giveaway. What you hiding? Like I said, is it the nudie mags? Is this his pee stash? He's a 28-year-old man. Okay? It's just insane to me. Maz B, thank you so much for the £5. Thank you so much. I pray it's Murphy that seals the fate. Oh, yeah, the dog, right? So Jack and Kaylee's dog that seals the fate when they find his dog hair in BK's car or apartment. You know, I'm hoping that it's that too. I want to be real with you. I'm really hoping that it's the connection that happens is the dog hair. Because you got to remember, the dog was shuffling around. Allegedly, he was put into another room. We don't know if that was actually Kaylee who did that or if that was actually the monster who did that, which could very well be, allegedly, Bryan Kohberger. Okay? But thank you so much for the £5. Audie T, welcome to the family. Thank you so much for becoming a family member. Thank you so very much. I really do appreciate it. Really, really do appreciate it. But again, crazy, okay? And that's the thing, though. There's so much more information that we don't know anything about. Of course, law enforcement has been doing their due diligence. Obviously, they've been doing their deep dive. They've been doing... they went through the genealogy websites and all that stuff. They went above and beyond to pin this dude, okay? This is not just some random dude that just walked up and said, oh, yeah, this is the guy because he just looks funny. No, they did their work. So to me, sure, that lawyer, yeah, it's easy for him to sit there and say, "Oh yeah, it's everything's circumstantial." Sure, he's trained to say that ish. But to me, still, there are so many things that are pointing him in the direction of doing these things. Again, a lot of things that people are going to be asking questions is, why was he out there in the first place? If his car was out there, if his cell phone pinged and all that stuff, why at least his car was out there, right? Why? And that's what the defense is going to have to try to debunk and try to throw off the jury and push in that reasonable doubt like crazy. But the question is it enough to exonerate Bryan Kohberger from this situation? That's still the ongoing question, okay? And yes, they are okay. So thank you, Patty Q. So they're low shedding dogs. Dogs still shed, okay? It's not like they don't shed at all. They do shed. They just don't shed like a husky. A husky, oh my Lord. They're all, man, I have so many friends, beautiful dogs, okay? Beautiful dogs. But I'm telling you, you know a husky owner when you see them come in, you know, when you're going and hanging out with your friends and they just got hair all over them, okay? It's pretty bad, all right? So, yes, exactly, Brandon Cobb, okay? It's hard, it's impossible, all right, for a dog not to shed, okay? They're going to shed a tiny bit, not a whole lot, like some other dogs, like a German Shepherd or I think a lab sheds quite a bit as well. If I'm correct, I could be wrong. But still, they still shed, y'all. They still shed. Let's continue here, guys. But again, Murphy could be the key. He could very well be the key. And if that's the case, it's a wrap, son. That would pin him at the scene of the crime. So hopefully he is such a dog and animal lover that he walks up and he's like, "Ooju boo doo, ooju boo doo" to the dog, and he's got it all over his stuff. That's what I'm hoping for too. Seriously. And I hope he did the ooju boo doo too. Let's move on here. So even the suspected, we already said this, okay, was allegedly seen at the victim's off-campus house before and during the supposed time of these tragedies. And he said, of course, these still appear to be circumstantial. But then I'm going, what are the circumstances, man? Oh, so Labar explains that police went off cell phone pings rather than GPS coordinates. If it was GPS location coordinates, you're talking down to a meter as to where Bryan Kohberger was at the time of these crimes, he said. Whereas a cell phone tower ping is that you're within the radius of that tower up to 20 miles. But yet, the only pushback I will say for right now is that the car was caught in the area, driving around multiple times, making his rounds before he stopped the third time, after the third tour, parking his car in that area. They have it on surveillance. So that's the only pushback I am going to say on that. Let's move on. Obviously, BK lived within 10 miles of the University of Idaho, where these crimes were committed. So certainly he could ping at any time, at any moment in time near the actual crime. Sure. But then I also heard about his cell phone actually connecting to their Wi-Fi. Right? And just because you don't log into their Wi-Fi, you know, like, oh, what's your password? It's such and such, you know what I mean? Just because you're not logging in does not mean that your cell phone ain't trying to connect to their Wi-Fi. So his cell phone allegedly was connecting to his Wi-Fi or to the house's Wi-Fi. He had to be close enough to do that. That's not 20 miles. Okay? That's not 20 miles, y'all. You know for a fact, as soon as you walk out of your house, and maybe you got strong Wi-Fi, right? You walk maybe 20, 30 feet away from your house, the Wi-Fi goes away. Dies off. So why would his cell phone connect to the Wi-Fi? Okay. And Angela, I don't know if that's true or not, but they said that, okay. Excuse me. She's saying their Wi-Fi was not locked. Interesting. And thank you, Corinne 007. Thank you. Shaken, not stirred. Thank you so much. But yeah, crazy, right? So, again, if they can bring that stuff in and show that proof positive on those pieces, maybe Bob's your uncle. All right, let's continue here. The fact that one of the surviving roommates, Dylan, is reported to have spotted BK in the house in the night of the unalivings is something Labar believes can be contested. And let's hear this. I don't believe hearsay is admissible in Idaho under the rules. Cross-examination of her is going to be key in the case to possibly get even more holes as far as the identification is concerned. Now, during that time, Kohberger told Labar that he believed he would be exonerated once he was transferred to Idaho. And remember how quickly he wanted to get exonerated. How quickly he wanted to get extradited. How quickly he wanted to get extradited to Idaho. As soon as he got arrested, he was like, get me out there. Yeah, I'll sign it. Let's go. To me, I feel like, well, he may be wondering, what do they have on him? Okay. What do they have on him? And then on top of it, the other piece is, I'm wondering who else they got. What else do they have? And if somebody was working alongside with him, what else do they have? What could they have in this situation? Right? Joanne Nelson, thank you so much for the 10. I wear surgical gloves to take garbage out and shop. I'm masked before masking. Germaphobe. P.S. Yes, garbage in neighbors can. I have done. What? Joanne, but then see, that's the question I got to ask you then, Joanne. Why? Why trash in another neighbor's can? Trash can. Why? I don't understand. I don't get that. Like, I understand the whole thing of like, I understand some places or most places you can get fined for overflowing, for the overflow of your trash if it's too much, so on and so forth. In one particular day, like, I get that part, and I've seen people go across the street and just look around and dump their trash in somebody else's trash can. I've seen that before, but why? With him, why? Okay? With him, why? But that's interesting information. And I understand germaphobes, hypochondriacs, so on and so forth, that are extremely cautious. They don't want to get that Rona. They don't want to get all this other stuff that's going up, monkey bars and all that stuff. Nobody wants any of that stuff. So I get it, people being very concerned, but at the same time, it's just very interesting. I hadn't seen that ever before until last night. And I was like, oh my God, that really is happening. This does happen. But even Brian Walsh, very interesting. Pierrette said, I put my meds and important mail in other people's garbage because I've had stalkers. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. And I didn't want them to finding out any more information on me. That's interesting as well. Karen Broderick, thank you so much for the £2. They could have video footage of him in his car. Yes, that's exactly what I think. They already have other pieces of information of him driving through the town. They already have surveillance footage, cell phone. Like I said, there's enough on here that can really, really like put him in at the scene of the crime, or not actually doing the act, but he's there. He's actually there, guys. Okay. He was aware of what plans I had and was good with everything that I laid out for him, including the statement. He said the statement of him being exonerated implicitly meant that he was innocent of the crimes. He used the word exonerated. Now, we did hear an interview with Brian Enton and LeBar, where LeBar did say that. He definitely said, I did not use those words. He used those words. He used the word exonerated. I put it in there because I was hired to represent him. So I'm going to say what he asked me to say. And he believes he will be exonerated for said unthinkables, for said tragedy. Now, it's interesting. He does have some cuts on his face for sure. And it does make you wonder if he was out, like how much are they really protecting him in behind bars, or if he's been subjected to just being tortured in there. And we don't know yet, right? We don't know anything. And I just want him to last. I want him to make it, okay? So that we can get justice and find out the real truth. And if he gets exonerated, I'll be surprised. I think all of us will be surprised. If he gets exonerated, I'll be shocked. But we'll see what happens here. Donna Stewart, thank you so much for the 5 Canadian. When she heard him say, don't worry, I will help you, could he have been talking to his accomplice, not the victim? That's a very, very good question. Again, could there have been another person there? You got to remember, he did this, allegedly, he did this in less than 20, 25 minutes. That's insanely fast. That's insanely fast. And the way that there was struggle, defensive wounds, etc. You're telling me he was able to do all of that by himself that quickly? Quite possibly. Quite possibly he could have. But it's very, very shocking. That's a lot of energy expelled too, by the way, guys. A whole lot of energy. Hence the reason why I think when it came down to DM and she saw him walking past her, I think he was exhausted. He's like, I need to flee. I need to get out of here. That's enough. This is too much. This is way too much for me. I can't do this. I can't do this like this. And then maybe him going back at 9 o'clock in the morning was not only to get the sheath, but maybe to finish the job. I don't know. But you got to remember, somebody just said what happened here happened in less than 16 minutes, y'all. 16. He's like the Flash. Again, there were still defensive wounds. There was some sort of struggle, at least. But then again, you got other people who have no weapons and you got a knife. Knives are very, very dangerous. Even when you're going into self-defense classes and doing Krav Maga and all that stuff, you know for a fact if somebody's very skilled with a knife, you're in a heap of trouble because knives are very dangerous. A gun is dangerous too, but you can at least find ways to move that muzzle away from your body. And as soon as that gun magazine or whatever runs out of rounds, then now it's just a piece of metal. If you're lucky enough to fight off that long, right? But a knife does not need to be reloaded. And if you hit those vital arteries, organs, etc., it's a wrap. especially somebody who is skilled with that said knife. And also, you got to remember too, applied force and pressure, someone swinging with something like that, it's very hard to stop somebody successfully without getting some sort of wounds on yourself, some cuts from stopping somebody who's just viciously and violently swinging and doing things in a downward motion with a sharp object. It is very hard. Protecting yourself from a knife can be very hard, especially if you don't know, if you're just a college student, y'all. I hate to bring in those realities, but I'd be more scared of a guy skilled with a knife than a guy with a gun. I will say that. Brandon Kopp, thank you so much for the 5. Thanks for having great open-minded discussions with us. Absolutely, Brandon. I appreciate you coming in and watching the show, and thank you so much for the super chat. Okay, thank you so much for your support. Okay. Nancy Whitty, thank you so much for becoming a family member. Welcome to the family. I really do appreciate it. Again, thank you. All right. But I'm being serious, y'all. The many years of experience that I've had with multiple mixed variations of martial arts, that's the one thing I've learned from many instructors out here. You just really don't like knives. Yes, you can. If they don't know what they're doing, sure. But if they really do, you're in. It's trouble. It's trouble. Okay. So let me get into this one of these interviews, because
with Jason LeBar as the public defender,
because he did an interview 11 days ago. All right, Jason LeBar, the attorney. Okay. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much. I know Kung Fu. No. I mean, I've done Taekwondo. I've done Krav Maga. I've done Jiu-Jitsu. I stopped Jiu-Jitsu. Man, I'm trying to get back into Jiu-Jitsu, actually, to be really honest. But I stopped about a year ago when there was another pickup of the Rona. So I was just like, I ain't trying to get sick. So I stopped rolling. But yeah, I've been wanting to get back into that really, really bad. But from the multiple years of experience I have, you learn certain things. You learn how to dismantle. You learn how to defend yourself, etc. But one thing for sure is a knife is no joke. It is no joke, y'all. Spin Cycle Dragon, thank you so much for being a member for the past 16 months. Man, that's a long time. Thank you so much for your support, for your continued support as well. They said in the chat, as a member chat, thanks for all you do, Pascal, and giving a voice to victims of true crime and other crimes, as well as their families. Of course. Thank you so much for your support. I really do appreciate it. And of course, another way you guys can support this channel is by hitting that like button down below. Let's get it past 600 likes. That would really mean a lot. Okay. I'd love to see it go hit 800 likes before the show's over. All right. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. All right. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. All right. That would really, really mean so much to me, loves. Okay. Subscribe. Okay. So let us get into this video. This is from 11 days ago. But I think this is he talks a little bit about his belief of him being able to be exonerated. Okay. So, and Hollywood 2000, thank you so much for being a member for the past year. That's a lot, and thank you so much. Hollywood said, I think it's great you know martial arts. I think everyone should pick up martial arts. Absolutely. Find one that interests you. Muay Thai, kickboxing, boxing, whatever. Find that one thing that that interests you and just start learning. Dabble in it, not only is it good just for health and keeping your body feeling young, but at the same time, it teaches you a new skill on how to protect yourself, right? And those that you love. So it's nice to know those things. Okay. But see, I did Taekwondo as a kid as well. Okay. So, and yes, Leo, I do agree as well. It does teach you discipline and all that. Okay. And yes, Karen, he was into kickboxing for sure. But that doesn't mean that every single person that learns a martial art means that they're just an evildoer. No, it just learn this so you can protect yourself and those that you love. And no one martial art is going to be the one that unlocks and makes you the best, like the superhero of all superheroes. But no, I mean, these are just techniques so that you just know a little bit. Okay, just a little bit helps with flexibility and stamina and all that good stuff. Let's continue.
Jason Labar is the public defender representing Bryan Kohberger at today's hearing. He has visited his client 4 times since his arrest. Mr. Labar, good morning to you. You have a busy day ahead of you. First of all, just quickly, what do you expect to happen today at the hearing?
I expect Bryan to be brought into courtroom 1, and he's likely to sign the extradition paperwork.
And you've visited with him several times. You've made a point to say you have not talked to him or tried to talk to him about the substance of the charges against him. What has his demeanor been like? What has his mood? What have you observed from those multiple interactions in the last few days?
He's being very calm. He's very aware. He understands the proceedings. I did discuss with him what to expect in the upcoming days on his transport, as well as what to expect when he actually returns to Idaho and is likely in front of a magistrate or a judge there.
I recognize you're being careful because you're handling this procedural matter. You're not the person who will be defending him at trial, presumably. But has he reacted to the charges at all? One can imagine being accused of something like this and saying, wait, where did this come from? Why are they coming after me? Have you seen any kind of that behavior from him?
It is a little out of character. He said, I mean, this is not him. He believes he's going to be exonerated. That's what he believes. Those were his words. So he's really been very easy to talk to, actually. And he's in a calm demeanor, like I stated.
What about his family? The mother, father, the sister, they put out a statement. What do they say about the charges against him and what they make of this in terms of the person that they know?
They don't believe it to be Bryan. They can't believe this. They're obviously shocked. This is certainly completely out of character, the allegations, and really they're just trying to be supportive with the understanding these 4 families have suffered loss, so that they're sympathetic towards that, and that's why it should remain really private. And they don't want to try this case in the court of public opinion. And without knowing the facts and evidence, as of right now, they don't really want to comment on things.
And I get it that the family is going to stand by their son, obviously. If the son is telling them straight to their face, like, I didn't do this and all that, they're going to believe what they're going to believe. They're going to believe their son because they have to. Never underestimate. And here's the thing. It's only alleged. Again, in a court of law, innocent till proven guilty, right? It is messed up because I also do believe in never underestimate the power of denial as well. Because it's easy for parents to get lost in the sauce of love, right? This is my child. I brought him into this world. There's no way he would ever veer off and do something unthinkable like this. But then again, these things do happen. These things most definitely do happen. And a kid can sit there lying straight to the parent's face all day long with doughy eyes, tears streaming down their faces, down their face, basically saying, "Daddy, I didn't do this." I don't know. And then at the same time, I've said it before, and I know this is passing judgment on him, and I don't mean to, but it is a question that still sparks in my brain of he has had a history of, I'm sure, lying to his parents. And I'm saying beyond just the regular being a kid and lying to your parents being a kid, right? Oh, yeah, I'm spending the night at Todd's house tonight when you're really, you know, somewhere else with your friends doing God knows what, right? I'm saying beyond that. He was addicted to heroin. He had a history of addiction. You don't think that he lied to his parents of days when he walked in seemingly high as hell, saying, Mom, I'm sober. I'm fine. I'm fine. You don't think he's done those things in his past if he has a history of addiction? And I'm sure the parents are sitting there going like, he's moved on, he's grown, he's changed, he's a different kid. He's become better. I'm proud of my son type thing. And they're going, they got to veer on the side of optimism. Because God forbid that their son would ever go back to those bad habits again or develop even worse habits, like the obsession of taking someone's life. So I don't know. It does make you wonder about his relationship with his parents. And of course, I understand they are loving, doting family. They're a loving, doting family. They dote on their kids just like any parents would. If you're ever so lucky to have parents like that, of course. So I do believe in the power of denial here too, and just veering on the side of hope with the parents and the sister. So I get it. I don't agree because obviously I think him guilty, but at the same time, I understand why the family would sit here and go, okay, I'm defending my son. Because I'm hoping there's a little sliver of hope or a little silver lining here that he is completely innocent and they'll find the bad guy while he is sitting in jail. But Nisa Marie, thank you so much for the 5. Colleges should offer self-defense classes, in my opinion. I do agree. I think so too. They should be like an extracurricular or something like that. You know what I mean? I definitely think so, for sure. For sure. Some schools do. Some colleges do actually, but not a whole lot. Joanne, thank you so much for the $3 super sticker. I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. We're going to go into this interview here. Now, I've already said a bunch of it, but I wanted you guys to hear it from the horse's mouth as well. And I'm not going to play the whole thing, but we're going to play a tiny bit of it.
Mr. Kohberger is
just a tiny bit of it because, yeah, I think this is good to hear from him, from Labar, actually saying these things as well. So let's rock and roll, shall we?
The idea that perhaps it's to receive the search warrants, those search warrants in Pennsylvania as well as Washington, although you could file a motion to receive those, by operation of law become available after 60 days. They become unsealed and are available. So that's a potential reason for the delay, as well as, like you said, terabytes of information from the cell phones from not only Bryan's phone, but the 4 victims' phones could potentially be available and gone through by the time it rolls around for the preliminary hearing.
And wouldn't she be entitled, though, as his defense attorney, even if those items are under seal, the search warrants and the affidavits, wouldn't she be entitled to those even if they were still sealed?
I actually don't know the answer to that because it is Pennsylvania search warrants as well as Washington search warrants. Certainly Idaho search warrants that were executed, she should be eligible to retain those before the preliminary hearing. I'm assuming that she'd also have those prior to the preliminary hearing from Pennsylvania and Washington, but I really don't know the answer to that, unfortunately.
I want you to discuss with me the probable cause affidavit. You've read it like everyone else, the 19 pages. It discusses DNA evidence, cell phone pings, some type of Vans shoe print. We don't know if Bryan Kohberger owns a pair of Vans sneakers, but they found a shoe print consistent with that there. The eyewitness identification. Your thoughts as a defense attorney representing many people accused of murder on what that probable cause affidavit alleged.
I had an opportunity to obviously go through the affidavit of probable cause several times now. I looked it over carefully. It's a strong circumstantial case, but the evidence, when it's viewed individually, you can attack that evidence as a defense attorney. Now, again, we're just in the infancy of the case, so much of this evidence is actually going to come after the preliminary hearing time, although we don't know now with this 5-month delay what's going to be available. But if you take the DNA evidence that's recovered from the sheath, for instance, I believe that to potentially be touch DNA, transfer DNA, which would mean that it could remain on that sheath for an indefinite period of time if undisturbed. That's one way of attacking that type of evidence that doesn't put him at the scene of the crime the night of, just that he merely touched that sheath at some point in time. The ID by DM is obviously going to be contested at the time of the preliminary hearing. I don't believe hearsay is admissible in Idaho under the rules. So it would be likely that DM is going to testify at the preliminary hearing when it gets to that point. So cross-examination of her is going to be key in the case to possibly get even more holes as far as the identification is concerned.
So let me ask you, you think it's a strong circumstantial affidavit, but did you see anything else there? I mean, you said you saw places where it could be attacked, and right now it's words on paper. That's all we have to go on.
Right. And there's no direct evidence linking him other than that transferred DNA on the sheath. The idea, as I stated already, isn't complete 100%, oh, it's Bryan Kohberger. The white Elantra can't be determined to be his white Elantra. I mean, there's circumstantial evidence indicating that it could potentially be his white Elantra, but there's certainly not direct evidence. They don't have direct evidence that he's driving the white Elantra. They're using cell phone pings, which we all know as defense attorneys aren't GPS location coordinates. If it was GPS location coordinates, you're talking down to a meter as to where Bryan Kohberger was at the time of these crimes. Whereas a cell phone tower ping is that you're within a radius of that tower up to 20 miles. And obviously, Mr. Kohberger lived within 10 miles of the University of Idaho where these crimes were committed. So certainly he could ping at any moment in time near the actual crime.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously, this is all the things that I just read to you guys in the article and all that. And shout out to Law and Crime Sidebar for having him on to kind of talk about this in more detail, his theories and all that. Obviously, there have been other interviews that he has had with Brian Enton and the sort where he has put in his 2 cents. And I get it. Legally speaking, this is the reason why when we had Danny on the show, when we had Andrea Burkhart, shout out to both of them for being on the show. When they talked about this, it's kind of like, yeah, there is room for reasonable doubt throughout this whole doggone thing, right? But we don't have, but the thing is that, of course, within the court of public opinion, it's very tough because we are all looking at this in a guilty perspective. Somebody got to do it. Somebody got to look at it like LeBar, right? Like BK's defense team right now, they're doing the exact same thing. Defense attorney Taylor is doing the exact same thing. She is looking at the opposite side of things and saying, okay, where is there reasonable doubt? How can we get him exonerated from these charges? And that's what their job is, right? And that's what his job is. And I know some people are going in on this dude out here on these internet streets on LeBar. And it's like, no, LeBar is just speaking on the legal side of things, speaking it logically, and how the court system works, what their argument is going to be or could possibly be on the defense, what the defense's argument is going to be. And one of them is going to be, hey, yes, these are all circumstantial, but does that mean that he was at the scene of the crime? Does it mean that he actually was the one wielding the knife, doing God knows what to these 4 innocent young kids? That's the thing. So, but I have a lot of pushback myself, because not only have I been tainted with my own specific opinions and how much I've been diving into this story for the past few weeks now, but also, to me, I feel that the probable cause affidavit and the stuff that they have released in that to the public, it gives me enough comfort to know that we have our guy. But that's my opinion. Again, I have to say this, and I've said it a million times before, but I'll say it again today or right now. It is still innocent till proven guilty. And there is a possibility that we are looking at an innocent man, that we're looking at a dude that has done nothing but just getting pinned and being used as a scapegoat right now. That could very well be it too. He could very well be innocent. I beg to differ. I feel different about that. But there's a lot of people out here that are looking at this and going, yo, this is still an innocent man until he is proven guilty. But you see all this. You heard about this. You heard what the lawyer said and all that. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this as well. So I'm opening up the phone lines. Okay. 314-766-4581. Give me a call. Love to hear some new voices. I'm going to say that again. New voices. Please call in. Love to hear them. Want to hear your thoughts. Want to hear your opinions about all this. The phone calls need to be very, very short. I'm going to try to get as many of these in as quickly as I can. All right. So, because I'm only going to be opening up the phone lines for a short while, y'all. For a short while. Okay. But again, be great to hear your voice. 314-766-4581. Again, what are your thoughts? Do you think there is enough evidence to pin everything on Bryan Kohberger? Or do you really think he's going to walk? Is there not enough evidence? Let me know your thoughts. Okay. Hey, you're on the mic with the Pascal Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi.
Hey, Tyler.
Yep.
Tell me what's on your mind. These are going to be very short calls, bro. So what is on your mind?
I wasn't going to be long anyway.
You're good.
So, to be honest, I maintain that he is guilty. Obviously, I'm just one person. I'm not gonna I don't speak for the entire legal system or anything.
Right.
But yeah, I still have every reason to believe that he is. But I understand where his parents are at. You got to protect your kid, even though there's like clear evidence that there's something he did that is horribly wrong, and I think that at the end of the day, whatever comes out will come out.
Right.
I think the main thing is just the main thing that I'm looking at is like just what this is going to do for like the victim's family. But I don't know if you saw the comment that I left behind when you talked about Ethan's mom. That she had that message.
Yeah. Maybe I saw it. I don't remember what it was. Help me refresh my memory.
Well, I basically said, this case, it's very personal to me, and it's very, Well, even though I obviously don't know these kids, I feel like by virtue of the fact that they're the exact same age as me, or at least, well, Ethan himself is, we're both 20.
Right.
I feel like, I don't know, there's like so many things that they could have gone on to achieve, and so many things that they were working towards, and now that's all gone because of this one man, possibly. And like, I think, well, actually, hold on. I don't mean to. Okay, here, wait. Sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah, it basically said, as a son whose parents bend over backwards to help me succeed and get me through college, this means a lot. I only wish the parents of the fallen young people, my age, even who was literally the exact same age as me, could have seen them grow into what they could have been, whatever it was they wanted to be. And their young lives were tragically cut short, so we're not going to see that happen. And I feel like that gets lost in the midst of like, oh, will he or won't he get caught, or will he be found guilty?
Yeah.
I feel like we need to censor.
Yeah, really quick because I'm going to let you. Yeah, really quick because I'm going to let you go here right after I say this. But you have a point. I mean, obviously there are other people that were involved, other lives that were lost that are not being mentioned very often, like Ethan, like Xana. There's been such focus on, and no disrespect to these families, but there's been so much focus on Kaylee and Madison that we have lost sight that there was 4 people that were lost, not just 2. And that's a frustrating thing. The only boy in the group lost his life as well, and there's not been much focus on him, and the backstories on them, the theories, etc., have not really been as prominent, as thrust out into the front of everything, like Kaylee and Madison's situation as well. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it is sad that these are lives, these were futures that have been snuffed out by someone. It could very well be Bryan Kohberger. It feels like it
someone
could be,
else,
or it could be somebody else. But yeah, there should be more opportunity to. There should be more opportunity to be celebrating and acknowledging those other lives that were lost in here as well. But Tyler, thank you so much for calling in, brother. I'll talk to you here soon.
Yeah, you too.
All right,
man. All right. Bye-bye.
So phone lines are still open, guys. Okay. All right. I just lost a phone call, but if you are still wanting to call in, you can call back in. Okay. But that is very true. All right. There's a lot of people that are, I mean, we are all so focused on all these other things, and we're not really focusing on the other 2, right? Hey, you're on the mic with the Pascal Show. What's your name and where you calling from?
My name is Missy. I'm calling from Oregon.
Hey, Missy, how you doing? What's on your mind? Speak on it.
Okay, so here's what I think. I think he's innocent. I think that there was so much. Yeah, I do. I honestly do. I think that the media and everything, they just needed somebody to like take that place as guilty. And I think that everybody's just like, it's too easy to say, oh yeah, he did it because of this or that. But I don't think he did it. I think that they're overlooking maybe some of the people that were cleared too fast, maybe.
Interesting.
I think
so
I think that.
So can I ask you a question? What aside from the media or the public just needed a scapegoat, what makes you think that he's an innocent? Like, what evidence or lack of evidence is giving you the idea that he is just there as a scapegoat?
Well, I think that he's was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Maybe too many times. Like maybe he was stalking one of them, or something, but I don't think he actually went in there and did that. I think, if anything, maybe he was there and he saw or heard, maybe he heard what the neighbors heard or whatever, and maybe he went in there to help. Maybe that's what, when somebody said they heard him say, or somebody say, it's okay, I'm going to help you, or, you know what I'm talking about?
Say that. Repeat that one more time. Repeat that one more time.
Okay, when somebody said that, I think when Dylan said that she heard somebody say, it's okay, I'm going to help you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. The third time she opened the door. Yeah, maybe he went in there to help. Maybe he heard something going on, like the third and the
now that's
you know what I mean?
That's a very interesting,
maybe he went in there to help.
That's a very interesting theory. That maybe he went in to help. So then why wouldn't he say that?
Yeah.
Then why wouldn't he say that right off the bat? Then why wouldn't we be hearing him say, "Oh, I ran in there to try to save their lives and all that
nobody
stuff"?
Because nobody would believe it. You know what I mean?
So then explain the third.
It would look like.
So then explain the third time that Dylan came out of the room, because if he said, "I'm here to help you," and then, because this is a very interesting theory. Hold on. It's a very interesting theory.
Okay.
So the third time she opens up the door, because at first she heard there's somebody here. Second time she heard, I'm here to help you, or don't worry, I'll help you, or something like that. Then the third time she opens up the door, she sees a guy in all black with a mask walking, like runs past her, goes out the sliding glass door. So why wouldn't he just stay and say, "Call 911"? You know what I mean? And say, "I'm just here to help. Call 911 now." You know what I mean?
Maybe he was chasing whoever did it. Maybe that's why he did go flying by in his car. Maybe he saw somebody, or you know what I mean? Like, I remember when the police had somebody, like some kid stopped for drinking or something out in the there was something where there was like you could see people running by in the mirror of the cop car or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There was maybe that's who did it. Maybe they were running off.
Interesting.
And maybe, I don't know, maybe he heard it, because maybe he was stalking. Say he was obsessed with one of them, right? So maybe he
so in other words,
was out there every night doing.
So while he was there,
you know what I mean?
So he was out there lurking, like doing his routine stalking routine, saw all this crazy stuff go on, ran in to the rescue, but then didn't bother to stick around and tell the tale of him being there and trying to save these 4 students. I mean, that's an interesting.
It's
a very interesting theory for sure. It's an interesting theory.
Yeah, because of his what his school, like with his career going to be or whatever, like he knew that would he's gonna get in trouble for stalking. You know what I mean? Like, what's he gonna say? I was out here sitting in my car doing whatever. You know what I mean? Like.
Right. But then why didn't he call? But then this is the thing. Why didn't he call 911? Because he never called 911. Not never. Like,
because what would he say? Oh, what would he say? He was stalking somebody, and then he heard, like, he ran in, and then there's all these, like, the scene. You know what I mean? Like, it would just sound. He probably figured the girl that was left was gonna call 911. You know what I mean? Because it makes no sense. Like, he just walked by her. You know what I mean? I don't know.
No. I hear you. It's a very interesting theory. And trust me, we have gone through some very interesting theories on this show. So not sitting here saying no disrespect to your theories. But to me, still, it doesn't make him an innocent, because it still doesn't make sense, because he's worse than the Dylan situation, because he never called 911. Never. He doesn't talk to her at all. He just panics and runs out the door. If that's him, that's in all black, whilst he is lurking and stalking them at night. It's a very interesting theory, but to me, him guilty.
I don't know. I just think that all of a sudden they just found somebody all of a sudden like that. Like, there was no leads, and I don't know, maybe they were keeping it quiet.
Yeah.
Or whatever, but I just feel like, I mean, I've seen it before. Like, I know myself, like, sometimes people are innocent, and it's not always, like, innocent until proven guilty. Sometimes it's like, they just say, like, they're guilty. Like, everybody's saying he's guilty, but they don't know.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, I see what you're saying. There is room for reasonable doubt. That there's no argument there. But there is a lot of evidence here that's pointing down the road of guilty, in my personal opinion. But Missy, thank you so much for calling in. I really do appreciate it. All right.
Yep.
Have a good one.
Thanks.
Bye. Yeah. Again, the theories out here are real. And you know, there's people that have, again, everyone's entitled to their theories, right? So that one's new. That one was a new perspective for sure. Hey, you're on the mic with the Pascal Show. What's your name and where you calling from?
It's Amy, calling from New Jersey. Hi.
Hi. Your name one more time?
I'm not going to be that fast. I'm not going to be that. I won't be that long on the phone. I just have a few things to say.
Okay.
My thoughts. In my opinion, I think I have enough information just for myself because I'm in a court of public opinion that I believe he is guilty. And I don't think that they would be rushing to judgment because there's too much stuff that we don't know yet, and we have to wait. And I know that we're all impatient, but I don't like these defense attorneys coming out with all these ways to get someone off when we have all the science. And just in my opinion, being that I'm a medical person, I'm a science, like I like to look at the science. I think that I don't really think that you can come up with all these excuses to explain away why his DNA is on that snap of the sheath. So, and also, we're also waiting to see what else is involved with the dog, as you mentioned, that he could have had the dog's hairs in the car, on the floor, on the bottoms of his shoes that might have stuck in his socks, in his apartment. I'm sure that they've looked all over for dog hairs that will match the dog that was there. So that will place him there. So, and I just feel really bad for the family. And I just hope this is solved soon. And I think it's lousy that they're waiting so long. And he waived his right to a speedy trial. I think that goes against what our country is based on. And there's a reason why we want a speedy trial because it also holds up other cases too. And I don't think it's fair that they're doing that. That's just how I feel, or what I think rather, as opposed to feeling. Because just my intellect tells me that he's guilty from what I've seen and what I know about science, and that's about it. I don't know what else to say. And I just feel bad for his sisters because I'm telling you, if it were my brother that did that, I don't have a brother, but I would want to change my last name. This is such a name to have now.
It is quite a name.
It's very. It's very, and they're medical people, and I think that it's just very scary that and who would want to go see his sisters as clients now with that last name? It just, I wouldn't want to go. Their careers are finished in a way if they don't do something to change their identity.
Well, hopefully it doesn't turn into a situation where there's discrimination against them just because of their last name.
Well, there will be, because I know in healthcare people, I think that people wouldn't hire them, to be quite honest with you, and the rumor mill would be going all around the healthcare facility or wherever they work, because this happens where I work. People have rumors, they talk about people, and I think that this should be just taken care of already, and so that everybody can move on and that the justice can be served.
But I see your point. But I see your point. Yeah, I see your point real quick in regards to the evidence, the science, all that stuff. You definitely have a very good point there. But thank you so much for calling in.
Right.
I appreciate it.
Take care now.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, you're on the mic with the Pascal Show. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hi, Pascal. My name is Tracy. I'm calling from Washington State.
Tracy, what's on your mind? Speak on it.
So I had to call after the last caller. So the last caller is the perfect type of jury member that the defense would want.
Absolutely.
And really quick, I used to work in the criminal defense law firm. So I got to kind of look at cases, and I can't disclose any information. A lot of these cases are ongoing. So I'm just going to give you a really quick, brief idea of how some of this stuff works. So, I was fairly new in the criminal law field, and I remember reading some of the probable cause affidavits, things like that, and then immediately thinking, oh, this looks really, really bad. But then if you have a really good criminal defense attorney, as one of my former bosses was, she's like one of the top of the line in Washington State. I'm not going to disclose her name. But literally the way she would go and prep for those trials, prep for those cases to defend these people that she was representing, she sometimes like would mention things and I would start having doubts in my mind. I'm like, man, like after reading the probable cause affidavit, I honestly thought that person was guilty, but she's poking so many holes, it's starting to cause doubt. So that last caller is the perfect example of the type of jury members that the defense is really going to be honing in on, just to bring that that doubt into the mind of the jury members, because this potentially is going to be a death penalty case. And if that happens, then it's a situation, a jury member is going to be very extremely careful. And then, what she was talking about, there was some kind of post that was allegedly from Bryan's sister, and the theory that was put out there on the internet was basically he was there with someone else, he was into drugs, he didn't know that this was going to happen. So it's, we'll see. I'm sure the investigation's not over. So it's a situation where, yes, it looks extremely bad right now, but because I've worked for really talented defense attorneys in the past, and this one particular defense attorney that Bryan got is allegedly really, really good at what she does.
Yeah.
It definitely makes me pause and wonder what the defense is going to be. I'm sure they're looking at other people at this point. If he was involved in the drug scene out there in Pullman and in Moscow, there is a chance other people are going to be dragged into it. And the fact that there's rumors out there that Dylan possibly was doing drugs too, I see, I honestly think there's going to be a little bit more twist in there. So far, you're right. The released evidence looks extremely damaging to Bryan. And personally, myself, what I've seen, I'm like, you know what? If it was just based on this, even if it's just circumstantial, it looks like he did it. It looks like he did it. But now it's up to the defense to see what they're going to show. It's really interesting, but based on what I've seen, like I said, there's been clients at the former firm I was working at where I would look at them and I'm like, this guy did it. This guy did it. This guy did it. And
Right.
then, kind of getting more into the case, I'm like, you know what? That there's enough doubt, that's placed in my head when I was initially already like, no way, this guy did it. They should just like plead out or negotiate and he should just plead guilty. And that's just me internally thinking, not verbalizing it to my boss. And then her presenting stuff, and I'm like, damn, she has a point. She could possibly, literally, it's such a big deal, and a really good defense attorney will be able to know exactly how to poke holes, and all they need is one jury member or a couple to kind of be against the others and say, you know what, I don't believe it. I'm not 100% sure. I can't convict, on this if I'm having doubt. And that's all it takes for a hung jury. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, obviously there are holes in this, obviously, but at the same time, we have to also see or also call out that this probable cause affidavit was redacted. There are holes in it already. Yeah. If there's more information in there, I'm sure they will be putting that out here. But one thing I do want to ask you, though, and of course I'll go back to the jury and all that here in a second. But you said something just a second ago, something about Dylan and drugs. And what are you saying here? I'm just confused about the drug part with Dylan.
Okay. There was another YouTuber had stated, I think it's Gray Hughes, had stated that someone had sent him some kind of notice or something a couple of months back, and he withheld it because of they were still trying to find a person. He didn't want to put out information that can affect the investigation. This is Ray Hughes and it's on his channel. But someone had said that Dylan allegedly was under the influence of drugs and she thought she was having a bad trip. So basically, it seems like if they can make any type of connection to any type of linking any type of drug activity to any of the and there is known drug activity in that area, then they can definitely put some more doubt in a jury member's head when it comes to potentially, because Ray Hughes said it. Someone had said she thought she was having a bad trip and she thought she was imagining things or something along those lines, and that's why she didn't call 911. And he put this out a couple of days ago. Actually, it's on his channel.
Interesting.
So that stuck out in my head. And, obviously, maybe she thought, but obviously what she saw is very close to what Bryan resembles. So if there is drug activity linked in that house, and like I said, I don't believe college students were druggies. I don't believe any of that. However, this was a party house. Young kids are young kids. They might have been occasionally doing recreational drugs, things like that.
Right.
But if it happened to be a group of people doing things like that, and if they bring Dylan and she has to admit some kind of drug use, then you're putting it out there that there was potentially drug activity in that house that might have brought other people into that home that could have caused harm to those kids. So, like I said, a defense attorney is going to know exactly what to do with that, and they have 6 months right now to plan. So does the prosecution, and probably a good 1 to 2 years before the case is even brought to trial. So, they have a lot of time to kind of look into a lot of that stuff. But I think it's gonna be interesting how it plays out, But I agree with you. Right now, it looks extremely damaging. But again, we'll have to kind of see how the rest of it plays out.
Interesting. I don't know about all the other parts of Dylan being under the influence on other things. Obviously there was the theory about maybe she was on drunk or on a gummy and stuff like that. But the extra mile that it's gone with the theories, I don't know. But I'm hoping that we get some more factual evidence, some more factual information when they unseal more of the affidavit, or even so the search warrant and the items that were found or the items that were taken from Bryan's home. Hopefully we find out some more information when they unseal that information too. So I say, before we all go down that conspiracy rabbit hole, guys, let's just sit back and wait to hear more information about that, because Dylan could have just been just what she said. And it may have just been fear. She could have been sober as a judge. Possibilities are endless here. But when it comes to the jury side of things, I think, the defense is going to really be pushing reasonable doubt like crazy and saying, hey, just because his knife sheath is there does not mean that he was there. Where's the proof of that? But I do appreciate you calling in. I really do appreciate it. I'm sorry. I got to get these other phone calls. But thank you so much for calling in so much. Thank you.
You have a wonderful day.
Thank
Bye.
you too. Bye-bye. And hold on real quick. I gotta say something really quick. Okay. The person who's on the phone. Okay, never mind. They just hung up. Okay, guys. Real quick. Still got a chance to win $100. Go and download Swagit app. Again, go download Swagit app. The link is in the chat. It's also at the top of the description box, down underneath my face right here. You still get a chance to win $100. Follow those rules up there in the top right-hand corner of your screen, and let's get into it. All right. Hey, you're on the mic with the Pascal Show.
Go and download Swagit app.
Hey, can you mute the show in the background? Can you mute the show in the background? Hello? Hello? They're watching the show and they're not realizing that they're on with me right now. That's what's happening. Okay. I'm going to hang up. Hopefully they call back and they mute the show. Okay, guys? But again, download Swagit app. Follow me on the Pascal Show, one word. Hit the like button on some of my videos. Comment on some of my videos, and you still entered in to win $100. A winner will be announced tomorrow, so you still got some time. Go to Swagit app. Download it now. Okay? Let's try this again. Hey, you're on the mic with the Pascal Show. What's your name and where you calling from?
This is Rick from Indiana.
Rick from Indiana. What's up, man? Speak on it.
Okay, so my thing is, I think they definitely, in my opinion, have the right guy.
Okay.
Okay, but it is a lot of circumstantial evidence. And my thing is, what if the knife that he used doesn't match the sheath that he left behind.
Ooh. That'd be
And
interesting.
you know, everything that he's done has been a, you know, with all the things that he's done as far as, you know, the questionnaires and all this stuff. Maybe he wanted to get caught, but did enough to make it hard to commit him, to make him guilty. You know what I'm saying? Because he's been invisible his whole life, and now he's in the spotlight. And I just can't imagine a guy with a criminal degree, a master's, going for his PhD would make this many mistakes.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing how dumb he was. I mean, for someone who is maybe we are obviously alleging that he was trying to concoct the perfect crime, right? Getting
Right.
how to get away with M, right? And
right,
he did everything wrong. He did everything wrong. So
everything.
So it is
Yes.
interesting that is the case here.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I think all evidence that they have right now, I don't think that they would have just gone and just picked up just anybody. They would have done that a long time ago. They would have brought in and arrested Jack D. They would have arrested Jack S. They would have arrested Adam. They would have arrested even Steve Gonsalves, for crying out loud. They would have arrested every mother-loving person, but all of them passed with flying colors, at least from according to law enforcement, okay? According to Moscow
Yes.
PD. So all those guys, instantly you're going towards the lovers, the friends or that surround their lives all day long. You're combing through all that stuff. They release them as potential suspects. So that says something immensely huge, in my personal opinion.
Exactly. And on your last caller that was talking about Dylan, if she gets on the stand and says, "Hey, you know, I was intoxicated or I was under the influence,"
yeah,
they're going to poke holes in what she actually saw that night.
Absolutely, it's a wrap.
So that's gonna be a problem. You know, I think the defense will definitely use that. But my theory was, I just feel like maybe he committed the crime. I definitely think they got the right guy. I just wonder if he did things to throw the investigation off when it got into court.
Wait, so you think he did a bunch of things to try to throw things off, you said?
Right. Like leaving the sheet behind. Okay. That's something that, I mean, even me, I never went to criminal school, but I know well enough. I can't leave that behind. That's going to have my DNA on it. It's basically the holder to the murder weapon.
True.
But let's say, early on they said, the knife had jagged edges. Well, every K-bar I've seen has been straight. So let's say he used a jagged edge knife, left the K-bar case behind, and didn't use a K-bar to actually commit these crimes. The defense can say, well, that K-bar doesn't match the murder weapon.
That's very interesting.
That's just my theory. That's just my theory.
No, but Rick, you ain't wrong with that. You see what I'm saying? That's a very good point,
right?
There. And that's terrifying.
Okay, man.
But thank you, Rick.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Okay, thanks for taking my call, man.
Anytime, brother. Talk to you soon.
Good show.
Thank you, bro. Peace.
Bye.
All right, guys, and that is the Speak on It segment for the show. I want to say thank you guys so much for calling in and all that. That does really mean a lot. But the phone lines are off. Phone lines are off. It was nice to hear a varying degree of different opinions and theories out here. Definitely interesting to hear what Rick said at the very end. What if the sheath doesn't match the knife? If the knife is different than the sheath, if they actually find the weapon, let's keep it real. If he allegedly kept it as this knife, if he kept the knife as a trophy of some sort or not, we still have to wait and find out if they even have that. Right now, they don't have nothing from what we know, except for cell phone towers, cell phone pings, and all that, and a knife sheath that now his defense attorney in Pennsylvania is basically saying, oh, well, it's touch DNA, and it could have been there at any time. It could have been there for a considerable amount of time. And it still does not pin this man in the scene of the crime. Then we also had that other phone call, which was very interesting, y'all, about because there are people out here, like I said, I see comments in my comment section after I get done with these shows or in my pop-up videos where people are literally sitting here saying, hey, this man is still innocent. We don't know anything, or people are out here still saying, the man innocent. That's it. It's like, stop. Stop saying these things. Stop trying to discredit this man or rip this man apart because he is still innocent. The proof, the evidence that they have is not strong or solid enough. There are real people out here that do believe that, like our recent caller that we had. And that's totally okay. Because some people are going, okay, innocent until proven guilty, and I want to see the Carfax. Show me more Carfax. What they gave us is not enough. He's just a scapegoat right now. They just they needed to put a face to this tragedy as soon as possible so that these kids can go back to school and matriculate properly and in safety, thinking that the boogeyman has now been put behind bars. I could hear that theory. I could definitely see that theory. But again, the proof, the evidence, the cell phone pings, the tower connections, the Wi-Fi, the alleged Wi-Fi connecting to his phone, the fact that his phone was off at a considerable time, the car driving around, surveillance cameras, the knife sheath with his DNA on it, shows a lot of proof to me that this man is the guy. But of course, we'll see what happens here. Okay. We'll see what happens here. Avery Shannon, thank you so much. Avery Shannon, True Crime, thank you so much for the 5. She says, I have my dad's United States Marine Corps K-bar knife, and it's very serrated. Like I said, I just don't think that this is I think he bought it or he received it from someone as a gift, or it was like a family heirloom of some sort. Okay. And then this was actually passed. Like he gave it to him, and he gave it. They gave it to Bryan, and he held on to this respectfully. And then he started fantasizing. I think fantasizing his crazy things. You know what I mean? Again, people are still saying that this is not the guy. Kim Merriweather. I already I already ended the phone calls, but. I will put it back on for one last very short phone call, okay? Because I got to wrap up. But phone number is back in the chat, all right? One last phone call. If this is not Kim, I'm hanging up on you, okay? And please make this brief, okay? Because I gotta run, unfortunately, all right? But 314-766-4581. Give me a call. Kim, love to hear your thought on all this. Okay. But again, still at the end of the day, we are still waiting to see what is his alibi, if he even has an alibi. They never mention anything about an alibi. That's what I'd like to know too. Hey, you on the mic with the Pascal Show. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hi, my name's Kim, calling from Michigan.
Hey, Kim, how you doing? So thank you so much for calling in from Michigan. What's on your mind? Speak on it.
Look, when they asked for 6 months to prepare for the preliminary hearing, I knew then that this guy, he did it. Look, he has no alibi evidence. I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
If you can prove that you were somewhere else, between the hours of 4 a.m. and 4:30 a.m., and you weren't at 1122 Kings Road in Moscow, you don't need 6 months to produce that, right? Say I'm watching Netflix, I'm doing Wednesday, I'm doing a whole, all the episodes. I can get my ISP to produce. I can get Netflix. I don't need 6 months I can prove where I was. But here's the thing. He's wanting 6 months to attack prosecution evidence, which means he doesn't have anything, which means he did. You need a mountain. You got a mountain to climb. I've got DNA, my fingerprints, my whatever is there in the house at 1122 Kings Road, Moscow. I got to show I wasn't there. So it's a rebuttable presumption. The presumption is that you're the one that did it.
Right.
How do you rebut that? You have to rebut that by, look, I can show you receipts. I was at Walmart. I don't need 6 months. Give me 30 days. Then I'm going to give you another 30 days to examine that. And then we're going to have the hearing in March, April. I don't need 6 months. This 6 months is killing me. That means they need to bring in people to pick apart all their evidence. That means you have nothing. If you're innocent, you don't need 6 months to prove it. I know he doesn't have to prove anything. But when you have proof that you have an alibi, you couldn't possibly look. I went to 7-Eleven for popcorn. Hey, I was doing an all-nighter. I stopped at 7-Eleven. I was on the other side of the world. Right. You cannot be in two places at the same time. Where was he?
Exactly.
That's what the jury's gonna listen. His DNA's there, his car's pinging, his phone's pinging. And the eyewitness put somebody like him there. Where were you, BK? BK has no alibi.
Zero.
They've got this guy. I'm telling you, y'all are wasting y'all's time because as without alibis, you can't say, well, I was somewhere else. I just woke up. I was sleeping. Well, your ISP, your phone's running something. Even then, I was playing video games. Your ISP, you can ask your internet provider to show you were active in your house. Or, I'm telling you, you don't need. Walmart has video cameras. Okay, he was over at Moscow. He was at Walmart. Right. What was he doing? Oh, he was at Dunkin' Donuts. He's on camera. He was at the 7-Eleven. He's on camera at the time of the killing. Look, I don't need 6 months for that. He's asking for time because he needs to it's a technicality. I got to find a hole. I got to create doubt. I don't need to create doubt if I'm innocent. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. You know what's interesting? Kim, man, that energy all day long. Okay, that energy all day long. Exactly. Where's the alibi? Okay, where's the alibi? That's the question I'd like to know as well. Where is the doggone alibi? The phones, our lines are down, guys. They gone. Okay, I only opened it up one last time for Kim because I definitely wanted to hear that because I knew she was going to come in about that alibi. But that's very true. Where's the alibi? Where's the evidence of said alibi? If he was sitting there chilling in the cut all by his lonesome, okay, checking out P-Hub and doing whatever, hey, F it. Give us the Carfax, right? Where are the Carfax? Period. But so far, what we've heard so far, we haven't heard him do nothing. We haven't heard him going, hey, I was with this girl that night. You know, I was answering to a booty call. I was doing that, and the third. Yeah, I was drunk and I just drove around to sober up, which you should never do. Don't drink and drive, kids. Okay, but maybe he was doing that. But he has yet to say anything. He has been quiet. And of course, yeah, the one question I had before, and I agree with what Kim said. One of the reasons why him sitting there going, okay, I'm waiving the speedy trial situation is so that he has more time for his defense team to poke even more holes in here, more reasonable doubt holes into the narrative that the prosecution has already set up. And you know for a fact, prosecution has more up their sleeve. There's got to be more up their sleeve. There's got to be. Okay? There's got to be. But we just don't have it because it's all under the gag order. And we're not going to hear anything until this trial starts popping off. And trust me, we are going to be watching this mother lover. Okay? We will be watching it as a family when this whole thing goes down. But this is what we have so far. And again, that's the thing. What is the alibi? And the evidence, is the evidence enough? Sure, it's circumstantial. Sure. But it definitely puts him in the area of the scene of the crime. Period. And that's the one thing I'm wondering, how are they going to wrap that around? How's the defense going to smack it up, flip it, and rub it down? That's what I'd like to know. How are they going to change this up so that they get the jury going, well, I don't know, because, he said this, that, and the third, and now I got reasonable doubt in my head. Oop-de-doop-de-doo. We'll see what happens. We will definitely see what happens to you guys. But we have only just begun on this case, and there's going to be more information that's going to be going off. Again, I appreciate everybody for calling in. I really do appreciate it. You guys have been amazing. Your thoughts and your opinions and all that really do matter. Absolutely. All of you guys' opinions matter, okay? Even the ones that are maybe unpopular or maybe outside the box, definitely, I love hearing them. I'm here for it all day long, okay? But before I get going, before we wrap up the show, again, if you want to win 100 smackers, go download Swag It app. The link is in the chat and in the description box down below, and it will be pinned at the top of the comment section after this show when the show is all over. But if you still want to win $100, a winner will be announced tomorrow. Okay? It's very, very simple. Download Swag It app by clicking that link. Follow me, The Pascal Show, one word. Go and like and comment on some of my videos. And tomorrow, at the end of my live tomorrow, I will be announcing the winner of that crispy $100 bill, y'all. All right? So go and do that with the quickness. It'd be greatly appreciated. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It's been an amazing one. Real talk. Never a dull moment with you guys. All right? And to my mods, I really do appreciate all y'all for being so incredible. Still holding it down. Keeping it tidy in the family chat room. I really do appreciate it. But for you guys, please do not forget, hit that like button down below. That would really, really mean a lot. Okay, let's get it past 800 likes before you leave, because a like doesn't cost a thing. And if you appreciated the conversation, it helps get that conversation out to the rest of the world. All right, so hit that like button down below, and let's not forget to crush that subscribe button. Okay, I don't know what you're doing. You're missing out on the best party in this side of the YouTube streets. So please hit that subscribe button. It'd be great to have you a part of the Pascal Show family. Anyway, it's time to get going. I appreciate all y'all for being here. I will be on a little bit later on this evening, so be on the lookout for that. We got another conversation we got to talk about, and it's very serious as well, but we got to talk about it nonetheless. So I'll see you guys tonight. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll see you guys shortly. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.